Welcome to our educational channel dedicated to providing insightful content for curious minds. Our target audience includes students, lifelong learners, and anyone eager to expand their knowledge. Topics covered range from science and history to technology and art, ensuring there's something for everyone. New videos are scheduled every week, guaranteeing fresh and engaging content on a regular basis. We take pride in delivering high-quality content with top-notch production value to enhance your viewing experience. With a rich history of creating informative videos, we strive to be your go-to source for educational content. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Stay tuned for exciting upcoming videos and series that will leave you wanting more. We value your feedback and suggestions, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. For inquiries or collaboration opportunities, please reach out to us through the contact information provided in the description. Join us now on this educational journey and watch our latest video to start exploring new horizons.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Education Platform. Now, before I begin with the lessons I have for you today, I'd like to wish all of you a happy new year. This new year, the new year 2026, is full with new opportunities, challenges, and beyond. And I hope you all have a great new year. Now, before I start with the lessons I have for you today, I'm going to be reading to you a verse which is taken from Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. And it states that, "Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing. On the seventh day he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done." The word of the Lord. Amen. What that verse is saying, it's talking about the Sabbath day. When God created heaven and the earth, he stopped working on the seventh day because he was finished. And all that hard work paid off. Now, our first lesson is based on quadrilaterals, exploring the key polygon types. Quadrilateral polygons are four-sided shapes with diverse properties. It's also based on understanding their types and characteristics, based on geometry and the practical applications. This presentation also covers the types of quadrilaterals, but it also shows importance in properties for critical and classification and analysis. The types of quadrilateral polygons. First is parallelograms. They have opposite sides. They're also very parallel and very equal. And their diagnostic bisect each other. Includes rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. These figures have key symmetry and angle properties used in various geometrical problems. These figures have key symmetry, but also for various geometrical problems. Trapezoids. They have at least one pair of parallel sides and may be equal to in isosceles trapezoids. Angles adjacent to those of each base is supplementary, and the shapes diagnostic have specific length relationships. The kites. The kites have two pairs of adjacent equal sides. For the kites, it's two triangles that are equal to each other. One diagonal bisects the other at a right angle. But also, the symmetry is about the bisecting diagonal, but the kites have a distinct and unique diagonal properties. The properties of quadrilaterals. The angle sum and relationships. The quadrilateral has a 360 degree 60-degree line. Its adjacent angles and parallelograms and trapezoids have specific relationships. Their side lengths, the parallelograms, have equal opposite sides. The trapezoids have only one pair that's parallel, and the kites only have two pairs that are adjacent on equal sides. These distinctions help and also aid in polygon structure, but also for solving geometrical problems. The diagonal properties, they vary quadrilateral types, such as for parallelograms, diagonal bisect each other. For trapezoids, diagonal typically do not bisect, but they have equal lengths in isosceles types. Kites feature diagnosis, intersecting at right angles with one diagonal bisecting the other. These properties are vital for the identifying shapes. Classification criteria. Based on the sides, the classification that includes parallelograms with equal opposite sides for trapezoids with one pair of parallel sides, and kites with adjacent sides that are equal to each other. The criterion helps to distinguish quadrilaterals, but by their length arrangements, depending on which direction. All right, I'm going to be ending this lesson for today, and I'm going to be revealing it to you the rest in our next live stream. Now, our next lesson is about tidal bores. Coastal mammals adapted to tidal zones. Tidal bores are specialized mammals living in tidal coastal environments. They have distinct adaptations that help them thrive, fluctuating water and land conditions. Understanding their biology and habitat is essential for conservation and ecological study. Biology of tidal bores. Physical adaptations. They have strong legs and specialized hooves for navigating muddy and slippery tidal zones. Their bodies are adapted to resist salt water by various moisture levels. These adaptations are very critical in the survival of a challenging habitat. Their feeding habits, such as fed on roots, tubers, and coastal vegetation, they can also consume very small aquatic animals, but their diet varies with the tides. They also have flexible foraging depending on water availability, which is one of the keys into surviving. For tidal bores, breed seasonally, but also aligning reproduction with food availability. For females, typically have multiple offspring in the sheltered areas. Young boars develop rapidly, gaining independence within months. Habitat and distribution. Coastal tidal zones and marshes. Tidal bores inhabit marshes, estuaries, and tidal flats where saltwater meets land. These zones provide both food and shelter, but require physical adaptations to tolerate flooding and salinity. Geographic regions inhabited. These are mostly found in temperate and tropical coastal regions worldwide, but also abundant food sources and protection from predators. The seasonal adaptation, which can move to higher ground during the dry season or during high tides and storms. As I mentioned a minute ago, for dry seasons, these shifts help them avoid flooding and maintain access to essential resource year-round. The ecological role. Tidal bores influence ecosystem structure by rooting through soil and vegetation. For tidal bores, they compete with zone coastal herbivores, but also serve as prey for larger predators. The burrowing provides shelter for smaller animals. These interactions can help balance food web in tidal ecosystems. Tidal bores play a key role in nutrient cycling, but benefit overall ecosystem productivity. Conservation and threats. Coastal development and pollution threaten tidal bores by reducing habitat equality. Land reclamation and rising sea levels cause habitat fragmentation, making survival difficult. Human activities are the main drivers of their pollution decline. Strategies for sustainable coexistence. The sustainable coexistence requires habitat protection, but also pollution control and public awareness. For many local communities, in conservation, it also ensures the long-term success. But also to maintain natural tidal habitats, it's also essential for the survival of tidal bores. In conclusion, tidal bores are vital to the coastal ecosystem, but it's also offering key ecological functions. Their survival depends on protecting their tidal habitats from human threats, but also a conservation effort and sustainable practices are very necessary to maintain the balance between tidal bores and their environment, securing the future in dynamic coastal zones. Now, our last lesson is about Zimbabwe history. This presentation covers the essential phases of Zimbabwe's history from its early settlements to the colonial era. It highlights key events and developments that shaped the nation's cultural and political landscape. Understanding this history provides context for Zimbabwe's history and current identity and challenges. Pre-colonial Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's history began with early human settlements that established the foundation and for later civilization. But for these communities, they relied on agriculture, cattle, and herding, but they also relied on trade, which also facilitates social and economic growth over the centuries. The kingdoms of Great Zimbabwe, they were flourished in the 11th to the 15th century. It was a major political and economic power. It's also known for its impressive stone and architecture. It was also the center for trade and also the cultural influence in Southern Africa. The cultural developments, including craftsmanship, music, and religious practices, these cultural developments laid the groundwork for Zimbabwe's identity, but also for social cohesion. The colonial era. In the late century, British colonial powers, they do everything they can to seize control, leading to the establishment of the Southern Rhodesia. This conquest disrupted indigenous structures and imposed foreign governance. The land and resource exploitation. Colonial rule involved widespread appropriation of land and resources. Indigenous populations were also displaced as early settlers, or also known as European settlers, exploited mineral wealth and also agriculture for economic gain. Resistance movement. This actively resisted colonial rule through protests for uprising and guerrilla tactics, but also the resistance also symbolizes the refusal to accept foreign domination, but also inspire national unity. The path to independence. The nationalist leaders, like Robert Mugabe and Joshua Nkomo, united diverse groups, but also formed parties and movements. But they also challenged colonial authority and also mobilized the population for change. The liberation struggle. This struggle intensified in the 1960s and the 1970s during the guerrilla warfare, and also it also gone through international support. It also sustained the fighting pressure of colonial governments, but it also highlights the need of decolonization in Zimbabwe. The 1980, the 1980 independence. Zimbabwe gained independence in 1960, which ending the colonial rule. But the milestone marked the beginning of self-governance. But it was also the promise of political and social reforms in order to build a new nation, but also aimed at healing divisions. Post-independence in Zimbabwe. The political change with evolving political structures, challenges also included consolidating power, but also to manage factionalism, but also to establish democratic institutions that are aimed for pressures for stability. The economic challenges they faced affected growth, but also require balancing reforms with also maintaining international relations, but also for maintaining investments. The social progress included improvements in education, health, and infrastructure, but it also had efforts to build national identity, but also social cohesion, in which it continued to evolve. In conclusion, Zimbabwe's history is marked by resilience and change, from early civilizations through colonial struggles to independence, but the nation's journey reflects its complex identity, but it also informs perspectives on Zimbabwe's ongoing development and for the future prospects. But also to gain economic growth, but also to help Zimbabwe in order to have more independence, in order for that country to grow. And that's the end of all the lessons I have for you today. Now before I go, I'd like to remind you, you can join us on our website at educationplatform.site. You can scan the barcode or copy the link and type it in the search engine. Always make sure to connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Before I go, I'd like to give you this advice. Never give up on God. God is always there when you need him. Never allow yourself to walk in the devil's path, but only walk on God's path, because his path is righteous. I hope you all have a wonderful day and Happy New Year.